Hello and welcome to another sewing chit chat session with me, Sallieann Harrison. Today is, I've got to remember the date, October the 16th, 2020. How you all doing? I am really missing having students and sewing friends round. Yeah, really missing out. Anyway, let's not dwell on that. I'm here now and we're going to have a little bit of a chit chat session about sewing and all things patchwork and quilting related. There's been quite a lot of interest on my Facebook page, which is Sallieann Harrison Quilter, and on Instagram, in connection with some little quilts that I've revealed. Now, I love little quilts, and I've got a selection this morning to share with you. And I think they are a brilliant way to play around with colours in a small scale, use a new, develop a new skill, and they give you that, when you're making a big quilt. I mean, I love making big quilts, but it is a long process, whereas a small little project gives you that kick of, yes, I got it right, I did it instantaneously, well, not instantaneously, but quickly. So I think they're a brilliant way to learn a new skill. Anyway, I'm going to start off with something that is definitely fall related or autumn related, and that is this little quilt here. So this is a buttermilk basin design. It's roughly about 12 inches square, so it's quite small, and it's one that I actually stitched in the car. It's hand stitched, can you see? So it's wool applique onto a wool background, which is unusual. And I do like the sort of, I think this is called herringbone stitch around the outside edge. I really like that look. So pumpkins, sunflowers, bees, it's got it all going on there. So that's the first one. Second one, I'm not sure which book this came from. It's probably something like Piecing the Past, or it's an old-fashioned looking book, because I do like quilts that have a worn, tired look. And this one, my husband said it's a step too far, but anyway, this is what I've created. And yes, it does look, I know it's not going to be to a lot of people's liking. So this is approximately 18 by 12. And yep, I actually asked my husband to take it outside and scorch it. I really wanted that old-fashioned look. And yet we burnt the corner off deliberately to make it look old-fashioned. But I love it twice as much. Yeah, and there's a little label on the back. So the labels that I use on my quilts, I use a stamp from the English Quilt Company, and I've just got it printed up, and then I just add details with a micron pen, and then you see where I've written scorched. It's all going to be back to front, isn't it? But yeah, so a very vintage looking piece, but it's got nice texture to it. I think I've only probably put smaller quilts, I tend to put flannel inside rather than batting. I find that works a lot better. This one is my own design, and this one is called, actually it's not my own design, it's inspired by a quilt from Kathleen Tracy's Small Quilt Club, which is on Facebook. The ones in the club, everybody did rainbow colours, which was obviously very in during the summer. I've actually done just green pieces, so it's just two colours. Yeah, very rustic looking quilt. And the batting is quite thick, and I have free motion quilted it and washed it. And it's got a little bit of rick-rack around the edges. And I've actually called this one Apple Crumble. And what inspired me to make it is our neighbour has an apple tree in his garden which overhangs, and every so often we go and we go and pick the fallen apples. and peel them and make them into apple crumble. And the green reminds me of peeling the apples. It's like as you peel it with a knife down. So that one's called apple crumble. And then this bit yeah, is always, I really like putting rick-rack on things, and it's just got a little button and it just hangs by the button. And it probably would work well just as a pot holder. But yeah, really like the way that the colour dips in and dips out. Green, white. That's that one. Then I've got a couple to show you which are original designs. Not sure if I haven't released these as patterns before, but I may do in the future. I made them quite a little while back. So the first is, I mean, obviously I'm from the UK. I'm a big English heritage fan, so here is my London soldier. See? So he's got his bearskin hat, his little moustache, his buttons. And the idea behind the curve around the top is to make him look as if he was standing in a little bit of a sentry box outside Buckingham Palace or House of Parliament or somewhere. Again, looks like I've squeezed in the rick-rack. So he is wool applique onto it's a Japanese taupe background, Japanese taupe fabric. And it's quilted, densely quilted around the bottom to sort of try and give the idea of a pavement or a road or something. And then he's, I think the applique on this one is, yeah, so this is actually done on machine using Valdani threads, which I'm a big fan of. So that's my London soldier. Now, on the same theme, I also produced a bus, and this is my bus, and there's a little bit more of a story behind my bus. So my bus is done in the same way, machine applique onto a taupe background. It's wool applique, sorry, machine wool applique onto a Japanese taupe background using Valdani threads. Now, when I contacted Valdani and I showed them how I was using the threads on the top of a sewing machine, I ended up going to Houston and demonstrating the technique, and my little bus came with me. And my little bus was on display in 2017 right the way throughout Houston Quilt Market. So, and again, I've never released him as a standalone pattern, but I may do. Something in the back of my mind says I need to do 3 buses, because we always say, you know, at a bus stop, you know, you wait for a bus and then 3 come along at once, and I'm sure there's perhaps a cushion or something there. So that's my London bus, complete with buttons and yeah, more rick-rack. Other people that have inspired me to make little quilts are definitely the Temecula Quilt Company. I think I've mentioned them before in other videos. They make gorgeous little quilts, and here are a couple that I've made from books that they have. So this is a tea block. I think it's called Tea Quilt, or T is for Temecula. I'll turn it the other way and I'll just disappear a minute. There we go. Is that better? There we go. So I actually was lucky enough to visit the quilt company in Temecula in California, and I've been there a couple of times, really enjoyed the visit. But again, this is using like reproduction prints. But I love, I mean, it's not my idea, it was totally their idea, and they show it in the book, the idea of this slightly pinky square in the middle, which makes you look twice. This one's probably about 15 by 20. This one was free, again from Temecula, a free pattern. This was Hugs and Kisses. Can you see the Hugs and Kisses? This is their free pattern. I can't remember which year, but it was about Valentine's Day. Hugs and Kisses. So this is, let's have a look at it. Ooh. So it's obviously a pieced quilt, and it's free motion quilted and washed, and it feels like it's definitely got flannel in because it's slightly lighter because it's smaller. So it's probably got a flannel rather than a batting interior. This one's probably 12 by 15. Cute little quilt. Now I mentioned Temecula, and this is one of their books. So this is one of the books that I've got. Sorry that the writing is going to be back to front for you, but take my word, it says quirky little quilts. And yeah, you can see theirs is slightly bigger than mine. The T is from Temecula quilt that I just showed you is from this book. Amazing use of colour. Yeah, I obviously bought the book when I was there from Cheryl Johnson, who wrote it. But some gorgeous, gorgeous colour play. I really like this one too. Okay, those are the Temecula ones then. This is the one that I've shown recently on Instagram and I think UK Quilters, and everyone's really liked this one. So this is very, very simple heat and bond applique onto a variety of beige or off-white backgrounds. Again, flannel batting, simply quilted to give a bit of texture. See the butterflies close up. And just using a variety of pink, beige. I think the antennae, yeah, they're actually hand stitched on using a Perle 12 Valdani. Somebody asked me whether or not that I used the AccuQuilt die for this. I didn't, but I'm sure something like an AccuQuilt die would work perfectly, and you could put the heat and bond on the back and then cut out using the die, and that would make a beautiful quilt. That one was from Laundry Basket Quilts, Editor's Sitar, and so is this one, this little strippy one, which I was just drawn to because it's just so unusual. I mean, these are meant to be like the seeds in a flower, and it's just a strip background, so that gives you, can you see how that actually gives a little bit of depth? And then it's wool applique by, yep, looks like it's all by hand. So I would have used heat and bond or soft fuse just to position the pieces, and then I've sewn it using Valdani threads, Perle, a 12 and probably a 22 or a 24 chenille hand sewing needle. This one's a little bit smaller, probably only about 10 by 12. I think both of those quilts come from this book by Laundry Basket Quilts, and the lady's name is Editor's Sitar. Lovely lady, gorgeous book. There are a variety of books that I have from her. I'll just see if I can find the ones that I have, because I've made a few from here. There's the one that I just showed you. So that one's called Catherine. And I've also made this one, which I haven't got with me, which is called Paula. And where are the others? See if I can find them. No. Can't find them in here at the moment. Would have been logical if I'd actually found the page with the butterflies on. My problem is that I've turned over the page of so many of these. Ah, here we go. On my to-do list. So this one was called, is it Taylor or Kayla? Taylor. So that's in the book, Little Handfuls of Scraps by Edita Sitar. I've also got other books from her. I won't go through them all, but they are absolutely amazing. So this is Handfuls of Scraps, another gorgeous book from Edita. Some really lovely quilts in this one. Stunning Lone Star, this sort of thing. Yeah, beautiful. And also I've got, again, on a Lone Star theme from Edita, scrappy firework quilts. A combination in this, and she does combine applique and piecing in one quilt, which she makes it look absolutely stunning. I mean, this is a prime example of that sort of thing. Anyway. Okay, I will move on. That was my little chat about little quilts. Something else that somebody picked me up on recently, I went to do some filming, and they noticed my little bag that I brought with me, which was like this. Now, I really got hooked, really hooked badly, making these little bags. So this is a real Jelly Baby packet, and all I've done is basically made it into a quilt using a special product. This is the product that I use, Vinyl Fuse. So basically you can put it over fabric, or in this case sweet wrappers, and it seals it and makes it pliable, gives it a vinyl clear coating. So what I would have done with this is I would have got the sweet wrapper, put the vinyl over the top. I think, yeah, I've got like a fabric back as well, fabric back, sweet wrapper top, and then I've quilted all the layers together, sealed it all in and quilted through all the layers. You see, I think that's a little bit small to see inside, but if I put it up close you can see it's still got its shininess because of the vinyl, and it's now pliable. These are absolutely great fun to make. I'll show you the product again. It's by Pellon, Fusible Web and Adhesives, Vinyl Fuse. I also, so I told you I got hooked. I also made, so it's just a simple zip in the top. Also made this one out of a Tootsie Roll wrapper. Again, all I've done is cross hatch it. I think it looks nice cross hatched. I'm not sure if I put any flannel. I might have put a little bit of flannel in it to give it a little bit more body. That's the Tootsie Roll one. Then I've got a Sapori, which is Italian make of biscuit. So it's just straightforward, little zips in the top, and I put little ends, can you see on my zips as well, to make them easier to, they seem to sit better that way. And again, it's just cross hatched. And I think there's one more, which is the sherbet lemon one. Again, the same sort of size as the Jelly Babies one, but I couldn't resist to put some little sherbet lemons in. I take those with me quite a lot. I like sherbet lemons. Yeah, so super cute. Now, to actually find out how to do this, I found it on YouTube. There are loads of videos on YouTube that actually show you how to make the little pouches. But the key, as I said, is the vinyl, to make them nicely, to get a really good finish. I think I probably used, so to put the quilting through, I would have used an invisible thread on the top and like a cotton on the bottom. And just a regular microtex needle and a walking foot. So that's those. Okay, excuse me disappearing. Okay, one of the other things I was going to mention is I know that, you know, during the pandemic and the lockdown and the further lockdown that we're probably about to go into, that a lot of people have got into sewing. Yes. So in the hope, I hope that these little chats inspire people to sit at home and sew, because I love sewing and I want to get more people into sewing. I've taught patchwork for nearly 20 years. And one of the things that I've taught over the 20 years, over and over and over again, is a beginner sampler quilt. Now, I think that there's probably, I've taught 100, 150 people to make the sampler quilt, and it is a great way of learning new patchwork skills, especially if you are a complete and utter beginner. So in the hope that all these people that have got into sewing through Sewing Mass, that I can drag them into the patchwork and quilting world, I'm actually going to launch a set of beginner patterns and a beginner club. And here is the beginner quilt. So the beginner quilt that I made for my beginners way back in 2003, I've never finished it because I need them to see the inside of the back, because I use it as a teaching tool. But just to give you some idea of, let's have a look, some of the blocks. So the blocks that are in my red, white and blue sampler, well, it had to be red, white and blue. A windmill, there's going to be some full patches, there's a grandmother's fan towards the end, there's a Jacob's ladder block, some flying geese, shoe fly, a nice Ohio star, and some applique as well. So flower in a flower pot, and trying to find the other one. Has to be in the centre. And something that looks like 4 hearts. So there are 12 blocks in the series, and I'm going to break it up into 4 groups of 3, and then there will be a sash and border session, which will be another session, and then a quilt and bind session. And yes, we will discuss layering and quilting, you know, layering your quilt, how to layer it, and quilting techniques, which is quite a big area. So there'll be 6 segments to it. I'm hoping that people are going to join me. There's going to be video support as well. So as well as the 6 sections which will come as patterns, there will be a sort of 30-45 minute video tutorial as well that accompanies each section. So yeah, let's get more people sewing. Let's get more people sewing. Okay, right, final 2 pieces. As you know, I'm a big wool fan. And one of the things that I don't very often show is I do make the occasional pillow. And this was one that I made a little while back. Perfect for Easter. And he is wool, so he's felted wool on a felted wool background. And he is done it looks like he was done on a sewing machine. So he's done on a sewing machine using Valdani. Really like his little carrot in his pocket. Yeah. And his stick. Reminds me of, we used to have a black bunny, which we lost him a couple of years ago. So yeah, good memories. So I've just embroidered my initials down the bottom. And it's just an envelope back. Now he's not my own design, and a lot of people have asked me about him, and he comes from this book. Let's see if I can find the page. No, I just have to believe me that he is in this book. He's in this book, Nice Mix, which is an older book. I think I got mine from somewhere like A Books. But lots of other patterns in there as well. Interesting things. Oh, there's a whole page if anyone's looking for Christmassy inspiration. This page looks very Christmassy. There we go. And this is a book called Another Nice Mix by Jerry Kimmel. So yeah, if you wanted to make him complete with his little carrot, that's the book you need to go for. And finally, I've just added in a little item that made me smile. So obviously we're in sort of Halloween season, and spooky and kooky things are meant to be to the fore. So I went out of my way and I made my little pincushion cat. So somebody said so I'm calling him Kooky Cat, but I think there is a Kooky Cat, isn't there? There's a cartoon. Is there? Anyway, I drew him up, filled him with a little bit of walnut shell, crushed walnut shell, because I like a little bit of weight to the pincushion. He's felted wool with felted wool applique done by hand. And he's also what I'd call pie crust. Yeah, so that you actually sew this by hand so that there's a little bit of a ridge. So where the gusset is, there's a little bit of a ridge top and bottom, which helps him keep the face shape. And on the back, I've just popped in my little label. Anyway, he made me smile. So yeah, there he is. I am back on Sewing Street this week on Monday the 19th of October, where I'll be talking all things Bargello in one show and curved piecing of various kinds in the other show. Thank you so much for all your support. Do continue to follow me here on YouTube. It's really good of you. As I say, I miss having a chat with people. You can find me on Instagram as Sallieann Quilts. You can find me on Facebook as Sallieann Harrison Quilter. And I do also have a website as well. Anyway, everybody take care and happy stitching and keep safe. Thank you.